For more on the outbreak, I'm joined now by Andrew Mesecar from the U.S. state of Indiana. He heads the Department of Biochemistry at Purdue University. He's also the deputy director of the Center for Cancer Research. So, Andrew, we've been hearing a lot recently about the slow incubation period with this virus. What would you say are still some of the biggest challenges with this?
In terms of incubation period, I mean, this is when you don't know how long the incubation period is, you don't know when the spread will actually happen or the infectivity from one human to another. With fever, for example, we've known with SARS that the infectivity from person-to-person transmission came after fever, and so by screening with fever, you could actually catch it before the transmission by isolation of those patients that were showing fever symptoms. With the virus from Wuhan, I don't know personally exactly what is happening in terms of the spread. I think that's what's being looked at right now.
We know that you and a team there are working on a drug to fight coronavirus, this particular one. Explain for the average person why it does take so long and how far off is this from being available? What more needs to happen?
Yeah, sure. We started looking for therapeutics, antivirals for SARS virus after the outbreak back in 2002 and 2003, and have had funding to look over the years to develop our therapeutics. We have small teams here at Purdue that are working on this. It takes a huge effort to take small molecule compounds, chemical compounds that would ultimately become an antiviral to the market. You have to look at toxicity, you have to look at efficacy. We start with animal models. All of that has to be worked out before you go to human clinical trials. And obviously, to do an efficacy study in a human, to get to that point, you have to have an infected patient. And we don't have those, fortunately, until now we're looking at today, what's happening with this new coronavirus. So we have to come up with different ways, surrogate ways for animals to look at the efficacy of our compounds. So it's a slow process. In the best cases, it takes 6 to 10 years to develop a therapeutic and get it FDA approved and onto the market.
We know that the symptoms of this particular virus mirror the common cold and can lead to pneumonia. Why is this virus causing so much concern and I would say panic?
So, to kind of put it in perspective, when you don't understand something, right, in general, you tend to fear it more. And in this case, we have a newly emerged virus. We don't understand it. And so we're going to huge measures, not only to contain it, but also to understand it. As we understand it more, as we understand how fast it spreads, its infectivity, its mortality, and get a handle on how to contain it, I think those fears will subside. I mean, we have to remind ourselves, and I do this personally, is, here in the United States, we have between 10 and 20,000 people will die from flu this year. Over 100,000 individuals will be hospitalized and, millions infected. But yet we're okay with that as a society. We are not, we're on guard, but we're not panicking. All right, and so flu, for me, that's a much more real scare for me right now.
That is a good perspective to have. Andrew Mesecar, I wish we had more time. Thank you so much for joining us from Indiana.